In London, there is a rumor, a quiet one. It moves through dark offices, private clubs, and high-security rooms. Some say there is a woman who can hear your thoughts. Not guesses, not body language. Your real thoughts, the ones you never say. According to sources, a few powerful people in the UK and the US have already met her. Some say they changed after that. Some say they became stronger. Others disappeared from public life. But here is the part nobody talks about. She does not just hear thoughts, she can change them. And if that is true, then who is really in control? A government? A billionaire? Or someone no one even knows exists? Tonight, we uncover 3 shocking things. First, how an ordinary man reportedly discovered her power by accident. Second, how she may have influenced powerful figures without leaving any trace. And third, the truth about what she really wants. Because sources suggest she is not hiding, she is watching, and she has been watching for a very long time. Let me show you exactly how this happened. Daniel Carter was not a special man. He worked a simple job in London. He checked reports. He fixed small problems. He followed rules. Every day looked the same. Same train, same coffee, same office. But one day something changed. It started small. Daniel was sitting in a quiet meeting room. His boss was talking about numbers, charts, deadlines. Daniel was not really listening. He was thinking about something else. I should quit this job. The thought came fast, strong. He did not say it. He just thought it. And then, someone answered, "Maybe you should." Daniel froze. He looked around the room. No one reacted. His boss kept talking. The others were writing notes. No one had spoken. But Daniel heard it. Clear. Soft. Right next to him. He told himself it was nothing. Maybe stress. Maybe lack of sleep. But then it happened again. Later that day, he went outside for fresh air. He stood near the building entrance. Busy street. Cars passing. People walking fast. He closed his eyes for a second. I need a break. And again, I know. Daniel opened his eyes fast. This time he turned. And he saw her. She stood a few steps away, still, calm, watching him. She did not look normal. Not in a bad way. But in a way that felt different. Her skin had a soft blue glow. Her hair moved gently, even though there was no wind. And her eyes. They were not just looking at him. They were inside him. Daniel felt it. Like someone was reading him. Not his face, not his body, his thoughts. He stepped back. "Did you say something?" he asked. She tilted her head slightly. "No," she said. But her lips moved slowly. Like the words were not the real answer. Daniel's heart started beating fast. He tried to stay calm. "This is not real," he said quietly. She smiled. A small, knowing smile. "It is very real." Daniel felt a chill. "How did you know what I was thinking?" he asked. She did not answer right away. Instead, she stepped closer. Not too close, just enough. "Because you are loud," she said softly. Daniel did not understand. "I didn't say anything, you did," she replied. "Just not with your voice." Daniel stared at her. His mind raced. Is she joking? Is this some trick? She watched him carefully. Then she said something that made him stop breathing for a second. "You think in short sentences." Very clear. Very easy to follow. Daniel's eyes widened. She was right. He did think like that. "How?" he whispered. She looked around the street. People walked past them. No one noticed. No one stopped. It was like they were invisible. "You are not ready to understand," she said. Daniel shook his head. "No. You don't get to say that. You just read my mind." "Not just yours," she replied. Silence fell between them. Daniel felt something heavy in the air. "What do you mean?" he asked slowly. She looked at him again. This time, her eyes were serious. "Everyone's." Daniel stepped back again. "That's not possible." She did not argue. She just looked sad. "It is," she said. Daniel tried to laugh, but it didn't come out right. This is crazy, yes, she said. It usually feels that way at first. Daniel looked around again. Still, no one noticed. It made no sense. Why are you talking to me? He asked. Because you heard me, she said. Daniel frowned. What does that mean? Most people don't, she replied. Daniel felt confused. You mean you've done this before? She nodded. Many times. And they didn't notice? No. Daniel swallowed. So, I'm different? She paused. Then she said yes. Daniel didn't like that answer. What kind of different? She looked at him carefully, like she was deciding something. Safe, she said. Daniel blinked. Safe? Yes. For what? She did not answer that. Instead, she stepped back. I have to go now. Daniel reached out slightly. Wait. She stopped. If what you're saying is true, then why are you hiding? He asked. She turned her head. Because they are not ready. Who? She looked up at the tall buildings around them. The powerful ones, she said quietly. Daniel felt something strange in his chest. Are you controlling them? He asked. She looked back at him. This time her expression changed. It was not soft anymore. It was strong. Focused. No, she said. Then she paused. Not yet. Daniel froze. What does that mean? She stepped closer one last time. Her voice dropped to almost a whisper. It means they are already broken. Daniel didn't understand. Broken how? She looked into his eyes. Inside. Before he could ask more, she was gone. Just like that. No sound. No movement. She was simply not there anymore. Daniel stood alone. Cars passed. People walked. The world moved like nothing happened. But something had. Something big. Something impossible. And deep inside, Daniel knew one thing. This was just the beginning. Daniel did not sleep that night. He lay on his bed and stared at the ceiling. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw her face. The blue skin, the strange golden eyes, the calm way she spoke, and those words. Not yet. He kept hearing them. He turned to one side, then the other. Nothing helped. By morning, his head felt heavy. His hands shook as he made coffee. He told himself he needed to be logical. There had to be an answer. Maybe it was stress. Maybe someone had planned the whole thing. Maybe she had studied him somehow. But deep down, he knew that was not true. No normal person could do what she did. No normal person could answer thoughts that were never spoken. Daniel went back to work, but the office felt different now. The walls looked colder. The people looked stranger. He watched everyone more closely. Every smile felt fake. Every quiet talk in the corner felt important. Even his boss looked different. Mr. Hargrove was a powerful man. Not famous on TV. Not the kind of man people cheered for in public. But in the office, everyone feared him. He made one phone call, and people lost jobs. He sent one email, and projects disappeared. He always looked calm. Always in control. But that morning, Daniel noticed something new. Fear. It was small. Hidden deep. But it was there. Hargrove walked past Daniel's desk and stopped. For 1 second, his eyes moved across the room like he was checking if someone was watching him. Then, he leaned closer to Daniel. Come to my office in 10 minutes, he said. Daniel nodded. His stomach tightened. 10 minutes later, Daniel stepped inside. Hargrove closed the door behind him. No smile. No welcome, just silence. Then Hargrove spoke. Have you seen anyone unusual lately? Daniel felt the blood drain from his face. He tried to stay calm. What do you mean? Hargrove sat down slowly. A woman, he said. Young, strange, hard to forget. Daniel said nothing. Hargrove watched him with sharp eyes. If you know something, this is the time to say it. Daniel's mind raced. How does he know? Did someone see me? Was I followed? Then something impossible happened. A whisper touched the inside of Daniel's head. Not from the room, not from the hall, from nowhere. Do not answer him. Daniel froze. It was her. He knew it was her. The voice was soft, cool, and clear. Hargrove noticed the change in his face. What is it? He asked. Daniel forced himself to breathe. Nothing. he said. Hargrove kept staring. Then he stood and walked to the window. The people above me are nervous, he said quietly. Daniel did not move. Hargrove continued. They say this woman has appeared near banks, political offices, military contractors, and private homes. Always for a moment. Always near someone important. Daniel felt his heartbeat in his throat. Hargrove turned around. You understand what that means? Daniel shook his head. Hargrove's eyes narrowed. It means someone is sending a message. Daniel wanted to ask who. He wanted to ask why. But the voice came again. Say less. Listen more. He stayed silent. Hargrove came closer. There are people in this city, he said, who control things most citizens never even see. Money, data, security, elections, media, all the real levers. He gave a cold smile. And now, those people are afraid of one woman. Daniel tried to act confused. Why would they fear one woman? Hargrove looked at him for a long moment. Then he said the words Daniel never expected. Because she knows what they think before they think it. Daniel's fingers tightened at his sides. So it was true. This was bigger than him. Much bigger. Hargrove walked back to his desk and opened a thin black folder. Inside were printed photos. He slid them forward. Daniel looked down. In the first photo, a senior politician stepped out of a car outside a private building in Westminster. And behind the crowd, barely visible, stood the blue woman. In the second photo, an American businessman walked through a hotel lobby in New York. Far in the back, reflected in a glass wall, was the same woman. In the third photo, an elderly man entered a country estate at night. On the rooftop above him, a still figure watched. Her. Daniel swallowed hard. These were taken in the last 6 months, Hargrove said. London, Washington, New York, Geneva. Daniel looked up. She's everywhere. Hargrove nodded once. And always near power. Daniel tried to sound careful. What do you think she wants? Hargrove gave a dry laugh. That is exactly what very dangerous people are trying to find out. The voice returned to Daniel's mind. He is telling the truth. But not all of it. Daniel looked at Hargrove again. For the first time he saw the cracks. The man looked tired. His eyes were red. His hand rested on the desk too stiffly, like he was hiding a tremor. Why are you telling me this? Daniel asked. Hargrove's face darkened. Because your name came up. Daniel felt a shock run through him. What? One camera caught you speaking to someone outside this building yesterday. Daniel's mouth went dry. There was no audio, just images. But after reviewing them, certain people became interested. Daniel said nothing. Hargrove leaned forward. They want to know if she chose you. The room went still. Daniel could hear the clock on the wall. Tick, tick, tick. Then the voice came again. Now ask him about Blackthorn. Daniel had no idea what that meant. But he trusted the voice. He looked at Hargrove. What is Blackthorn? The change was instant. Hargrove's face lost all color. For the first time, the powerful man looked truly afraid. Who told you that? He asked. Daniel kept his expression steady. I heard the name. From who? Daniel did not answer. Hargrove stepped back slowly. His calm mask was gone now. He looked toward the closed door, then toward the corners of the room, like even the walls might be listening. You should not know that word, he whispered. Daniel felt cold all over. What is it? Hargrove shook his head. No, this is bad. The voice in Daniel's mind was softer now. Watch him carefully. Hargrove grabbed the black folder and shoved the photos back inside. His breathing had changed. Fast. Uneven. Daniel stared. A thought hit him hard. She's reading him too. And then, for one impossible second, Daniel heard something else. Not her voice. Not his own. Hargrove's thoughts. They came in broken flashes. She found another one. Impossible. Blackthorn must move, if the board knows. Daniel stepped back in shock. He had not heard words with his ears. He had heard them inside. Just like her. Hargrove looked up sharply. Their eyes met. And somehow, Hargrove knew. You heard that, he said. It was not a question. Daniel could not speak. Hargrove backed away from him. What are you? He whispered. Daniel shook his head. I don't know. That was the truth. The office lights flickered once, then twice. The computer screen on the desk went black. A strange pressure filled the room. Daniel felt it behind his eyes, in his chest, in his teeth. Then the whisper returned, stronger than before. Leave. Now. Daniel did not argue. He turned and rushed for the door. Behind him, Hargrove shouted, Security. But the door was already open. The hallway outside was chaos. Phones were dead. Lights flashed on and off. People stood confused at their desks. Some looked scared. Some looked angry. A few just stared blankly ahead, like they were hearing something far away. Daniel ran toward the elevators. The whisper came again. Not there. Stairs. He changed direction fast and pushed through the stairwell door. His footsteps echoed as he rushed down, floor after floor. His breath burned, his heart pounded. On the 6th floor landing, he stopped. Someone was there. A man in a dark suit stood still by the railing. Tall. Clean haircut. No emotion on his face. He looked more like a machine than a person. Daniel backed up one step. The man spoke into a hidden earpiece. He's moving. Heading down. Daniel turned to run upward. But another man stepped out above him. Same dark suit. Same cold eyes. Daniel was trapped. The first man reached inside his jacket. Not for a gun. For a small silver device. It hummed softly. Daniel had no idea what it was. But every part of him screamed danger. Then time seemed to slow. A blue blur moved between them, fast. Silent. Beautiful. The first man flew backward into the wall before he could even raise the device. The second man from above rushed down, but stopped halfway. His body froze. His eyes went empty. Then he slowly turned and walked back up the stairs like he had forgotten why he was there. Daniel stared in shock. She stood between him and the first man, the blue woman. Calm as ever. Not one drop of fear on her face. The man on the floor groaned and tried to move. She looked at him once, just once, and he stopped, like his body no longer belonged to him. Daniel could barely breathe. You did that? He asked. She turned to him. Yes. How? She stepped closer. The simple version, she said. I touched his mind. Daniel looked at the unmoving man. He's alive? Yes. Then why can't he move? Because right now, she said quietly, he has forgotten how. Daniel stared at her in horror and wonder. That's impossible. She gave him a tired look. You keep saying that. And yet here we are. Sirens sounded far below. More footsteps echoed somewhere in the building. She glanced down the stairs. They will keep coming. Who are they? Daniel asked. Blackthorn, she said. The word hit him like ice. What is Blackthorn? Her golden eyes locked onto his. A hidden network, she said. Rich men. Powerful women. Intelligence brokers. Private military minds. Political handlers. They don't run the world. She paused. They run the people who run the world. Daniel's mouth went dry. And they want you? She shook her head. No. Then she looked at him with a strange sadness. They want what woke up inside you. Daniel felt the air leave his lungs. He stepped back. I don't understand. I know, she said. And that is exactly why they are dangerous. Footsteps came closer now, fast. More than 2 men this time. She reached for his hand. Her fingers were cool, but the touch sent a strange warmth through his body. Come with me, she said. Daniel looked at her. At the stairwell. At the frozen man on the floor. At the life he understood, breaking apart piece by piece. Then he made his choice. He took her hand. And together, they vanished into the dark stairwell just as the next team reached the door. Daniel did not remember how they left the building. 1 second, he was in the stairwell. The next, he was outside. Cold air hit his face. Traffic moved like normal. People walked past like nothing had happened. But everything had changed. He looked around fast. "Where are we?" he asked. "Still in London," she said calmly. "That's not what I mean." She turned to him. "I know." Daniel ran a hand through his hair. His mind felt too full, too loud, too fast. "What just happened back there?" he asked. "You saw it," she replied. "No, I didn't," he said quickly. "Not really. I don't understand any of it." She studied him. "You heard his thoughts." Daniel froze. "Yes," he said slowly. "But that's not possible." She gave a small nod. "And yet you did." Daniel looked down at his hands. They weren't clear, just pieces. Like broken words. "That's how it starts," she said. Daniel looked up. "Starts?" She stepped closer. "You are opening." Daniel felt fear rise in his chest. "I don't want this." "I know," she said softly. "Then stop it." She shook her head. "I can't." "Why not?" "Because it's not coming from me." Silence fell. Cars passed behind them. A bus stopped. Doors opened. Closed. The world moved on, but Daniel felt stuck in place. "Then where is it coming from?" he asked. She looked at him for a long moment. Then she said, "From you." Daniel stepped back. "No, that's not possible." She did not argue. She simply watched him. Daniel shook his head. "I'm just a normal person." "No one is just anything," she said. "That's not an answer. It's the only one I have right now." Daniel felt frustration building. "You're not telling me everything." She looked away. "That is true. Why?" "Because if I do," she said quietly, "you might make the wrong choice." Daniel frowned. "What choice?" Before she could answer, the world around them shifted. Daniel felt it first in his head. A pressure, like something pushing inward. Then the sounds changed. Cars slowed. Voices stretched. Everything felt off. "What's happening?" he asked. Her eyes sharpened. "They found us." Daniel's heart jumped. "How?" "They don't see minds," she said. "But they track patterns. Movement. Signals. Silence. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't need to," she replied. "It works." Daniel looked around. A black car had stopped at the corner. Another one behind it. Men stepped out. Same suits. Same cold faces. More of them this time. At least 6. "Run," Daniel said. "No," she replied. He looked at her. "No?" "They want you alive," she said. "That gives us time." "That doesn't make me feel better." She almost smiled. They also brought something new. Daniel followed her gaze. One of the men held a small case. He opened it slowly. Inside was a device. Dark. Smooth. It gave off a low hum. Daniel felt it immediately. A sharp pain behind his eyes. He grabbed his head. "What is that?" "A disruptor," she said. "It blocks signals like mine." Daniel looked at her. "Like yours?" "Yes." The man raised the device. The hum grew louder. Daniel dropped to one knee. His thoughts felt heavy. Slow, like they were being pulled apart. She stepped in front of him. Her body straight. Her eyes focused. "They learned faster than I expected," she said. Daniel struggled to speak. "What do we do?" She did not answer right away. Instead, she closed her eyes. For a moment, everything went still. Then the air changed. Daniel felt it. A wave. Soft at first. Then stronger. Like a quiet storm. The men in suits reacted. 2 of them stopped moving. One dropped his weapon. Another looked confused. The man with the device held steady. He pressed something on it. The hum turned sharp. Pain hit Daniel harder. He fell fully to the ground. He could not think. Could not move. The world blurred. Through the noise, he heard her voice. Not with his ears. Inside. "Stay with me." Daniel tried. He focused on her. On the sound. On anything that felt real. Don't let go. The pressure increased. The hum screamed now. Daniel felt like his mind was breaking. Then suddenly, silence. The pain vanished. The hum stopped. The world snapped back. Daniel gasped and sat up. The street was empty. The cars were gone. The men were gone. Everything looked normal again, like nothing had happened. He looked at her. "What did you do?" She opened her eyes slowly. "They are sleeping." she said. Sleeping? For a few minutes. Daniel stood up, shaking. You did that to all of them? Yes. He stared at her. That's not possible. She gave him a tired look. You really need a new sentence. Daniel almost laughed. But the fear stayed. That device, it hurt me. It was not made for you, she said. Then why did it affect me? She stepped closer. Because you are changing. Daniel looked away. I don't want to change. She spoke gently. I didn't either. Daniel turned back fast. You? She nodded. I was not always like this. Daniel blinked. What were you? She paused. Then she said, human. The word hung in the air. Daniel stared at her blue skin, her glowing eyes. That's not possible, I know, she said. You keep saying that. Daniel took a step back. No, that's different. You're not human, I was, she repeated. What happened to you? She looked past him, like she was seeing something far away. They found me, she said. Blackthorn? Yes. Daniel felt a chill. What did they do? They tested, she said. Pushed, measured, broke limits. Daniel felt anger rise. They experimented on you? She nodded slowly. They were searching for something. What? A way to control thought itself? Daniel went still. And they succeeded? She looked at him. No. Daniel felt a small relief. Then what happened? She touched her own arm. Her glowing skin. I survived, she said. And that changed everything. Daniel swallowed. So, you escaped? Yes. And now they're hunting you, yes. Daniel looked around. The quiet street suddenly felt dangerous again. But why are they after me? He asked. She stepped closer. Because you heard me. That again, he said. What does that mean? She took a deep breath. Out of millions of minds, she said, very few can hear back. Daniel's heart slowed. You mean, respond? Yes. Like, me? Yes. Daniel felt the ground shift under him. So I'm like you? She shook her head. Not yet. Daniel didn't like that answer. But I'm becoming like you. She nodded once. Silence. Daniel looked at his hands again. They felt the same. But they didn't feel the same. What happens if I change fully? He asked. She did not answer right away. Then she said, you will see everything. Daniel frowned. Everything? Truth, lies, fear, power, hidden things. Daniel felt uneasy. That sounds dangerous. It is. And Blackthorn wants that? Yes, why? She looked straight into his eyes. Because if they control someone like that, she said slowly, they don't just control the world. She paused. They control reality. Daniel felt cold. That's not control, he said quietly. That's something else, she nodded. Yes. They stood in silence for a moment. Then Daniel asked the question he had been avoiding. What do you want? She looked surprised. Me? Yes, you saved me, he said. You warned me. You brought me into this. Why? She watched him carefully. For a long time, she said. I stayed hidden. Daniel listened. I watched them. I learned them. I stayed away. Why? Because I thought I was alone. Daniel felt something in his chest. And now? She stepped closer. Now I know I'm not. Daniel understood. You found me, yes. And you need me. She hesitated, then nodded. Yes. Daniel looked away. The weight of everything pressed down on him. His normal life was gone. His job, his routine, his safety, all gone. Replaced by something he did not understand. Something dangerous. Something powerful. He took a slow breath. What happens next? He asked. She looked at him, her eyes calm, but strong. We stop running, she said. Daniel blinked. We what? She gave a small determined smile. We go to them. Daniel stared at her. To Blackthorn? Yes. Are you serious? Yes. That's insane, maybe, she said. But it's the only way. Daniel shook his head. No. That's a trap, yes. And you still want to walk into it? She nodded. Yes. Daniel looked at her like she was crazy. You just said they want to control people like us? Yes. And your plan is to go to them? Yes. Daniel ran his hands over his face. This makes no sense. She stepped closer. It will. When? When you see what they're hiding. Daniel lowered his hands slowly. And what is that? She looked at him with quiet intensity. The truth about you. Daniel felt his heart stop for a second. What does that mean? She did not answer. Instead, she turned and started walking. Daniel stood still. His mind screamed at him to walk away, to run, to go back to his normal life. But something deeper pulled him forward. Something stronger. He looked at her, then at the empty street, then back at her again. And slowly, he followed. Daniel followed her without speaking. The streets of London felt different now. Every shadow looked deeper. Every reflection looked like it was watching. He stayed close to her, not because he trusted everything, but because she was the only thing that made sense. Where are we going? He finally asked. Somewhere they don't expect, she said. That doesn't sound safe. It isn't, she replied. They turned into a narrow street. Old buildings. Dim lights. Almost empty. She slowed down, then stopped near a quiet door between two closed shops. Daniel looked around. This place? She nodded. It's a dead zone. What does that mean? No cameras, no signals, no tracking. Daniel raised an eyebrow. In London? Yes. That's impossible. She gave him a quick look. You're still doing that. Daniel sighed. Yeah, I know. She pushed the door open. Inside, it was dark. Dust floated in the air. Broken furniture. Old walls. No sound. Daniel stepped in slowly. This doesn't look like a safe place. It's not safe, she said. It's hidden. She closed the door behind them. For a moment, everything went quiet. Too quiet. Daniel felt the silence press on him. Then she moved to the center of the room. Sit, she said. Daniel hesitated. Why? Because what I show you next, she said softly. You need to be ready. Daniel didn't like the sound of that, but he sat. She stood in front of him. Her eyes locked onto his. Close your eyes. Daniel shook his head. No. Trust me, I don't even understand you. She stepped close. I know. But you trust me enough to follow me here. Daniel paused. She was right. Slowly, he closed his eyes. Good, she said. Her voice changed. Softer, deeper. Now don't fight it. Fight what? He asked. But before she answered, it started. A strange feeling spread through his head. Warm, then cold, then something else. Like his thoughts were opening. He tried to pull back. But her voice came again. Stay calm. Then suddenly, images. Fast, sharp. Not his memories. Not his life. Something else. He saw a room. Bright lights. Cold metal. Machines. People in dark suits. Blackthorn. He knew it without being told. Then he saw someone lying on a table. Hands tied. Eyes open. Scared. Daniel's breath stopped. That's, he whispered. It's you, her voice said gently. Daniel tried to move, but he couldn't. The vision pulled him deeper. He saw doctors. Scientists. Talking. Writing. Watching screens. He's stable. Brain activity is increasing. We're close. Daniel felt fear rise. This isn't real. But it felt real. Too real. Then he saw her. The blue woman. But she was different. Her skin was not glowing yet. Her eyes were normal. Human. She stood behind a glass wall, watching him, watching the man on the table, watching Daniel. Wait, Daniel said. You remember now, she said. The scene shifted. He saw pain. Electric pulses. Machines connected to the body. Voices shouting. Push it further. We need results. He can handle it. Daniel screamed. But no sound came out. Then, silence. Everything stopped. The room went dark. The machines died. And the man on the table opened his eyes. But they were not normal. They were bright, alive, aware. Daniel felt something break inside him. Then everything faded. Darkness, silence. Then, he opened his eyes. Back in the room. Breathing hard. Sweating. Shaking. No, he said. That's not me. She stood in front of him. Calm. But sad. It is. Daniel stood up fast. No. I've never seen that place. You were not meant to remember, she said. That doesn't mean it's true. His voice shook. His whole body shook. She didn't move. They changed you, she said softly. Daniel stepped back. No. They started something inside you. No. They didn't finish it. Stop. Silence fell. Daniel's chest rose and fell fast. He looked at her, angry, afraid, confused. You're lying, he said. She shook her head slowly. I wish I was. Daniel turned away, ran his hands over his face. This doesn't make sense. I know. I had a normal life, a controlled life, she corrected. Daniel froze. What? She stepped closer. They erased parts of your memory. Daniel turned slowly. No. They gave you a safe story, a simple job, a quiet routine. No. To keep you stable. Daniel felt the world spin. This is insane, she didn't argue. She just said, you felt it, didn't you? Daniel didn't answer. You heard his thoughts. He swallowed. You felt the disruptor. He closed his eyes. You are not normal, Daniel. He opened his eyes again. Then what am I? He asked. She looked straight at him. You are what they were trying to create. Daniel stood still. The words hit him hard. A weapon? She shook her head. No. Then what? She took a breath. A key. Daniel frowned. A key to what? She paused. Then said the words slowly, to something even Blackthorn does not fully understand. Daniel felt cold again. So they made me. By accident? Yes. And you? She looked down at her hands. They made me on purpose. Silence. Daniel processed it slowly. So they tried to control minds. Yes. And instead, they created something stronger, she said. Daniel laughed once. A short, broken laugh. That's a mistake. Yes. She said. A very dangerous one. Daniel walked a few steps away. His mind raced. So now what? He asked. They will come for you again. I figured that. They won't stop. Daniel nodded. Also figured that. She stepped closer. And now they know you can hear. Daniel looked at her. That makes me valuable. Yes. And dangerous. Yes. Daniel sighed. Great. She almost smiled. You're handling this better than most. I don't feel like it. That's normal. Daniel looked around the dark room. So going to them, he said slowly, that wasn't just your plan. She shook her head. No. It's the only way. Yes. Daniel rubbed his forehead. Because they have answers. Yes. And because they started this. Yes. Daniel looked at her again. And because something bigger is coming, right? She didn't answer. That was answer enough. Daniel took a deep breath. Okay. She blinked. Okay. Yes. You'll go with me? Daniel nodded slowly. I don't like it. You shouldn't. I don't trust it. You're right not to. But I need answers. She studied him. Then gave a small nod. You're ready? Daniel shook his head. No, I'm not. She smiled slightly. That's how I know you are. A faint sound came from outside. Not footsteps, not voices, something else. Low, mechanical. Daniel turned. What is that? Her face changed. Serious again. They're faster than I thought. Daniel felt the tension return. They found us? She nodded. Yes. How? They didn't track us. Then how? She looked at him. They tracked you. Daniel felt his chest tighten. What? She stepped closer. They left something inside you. Daniel froze. No. Yes. When? Before you forgot. Daniel's mind raced. A tracker? More than that, she said. It's active now. Daniel felt panic rise. Can you remove it? She shook her head. Not safely. What does that mean? It means, she said slowly, if I try it could trigger something worse. Daniel swallowed. Like what? She looked at him. Shut down. Daniel went silent. Outside the sound grew louder. Closer. Closer. Daniel looked at her. So what do we do now? She didn't hesitate. We don't run. Daniel blinked. Again with that, she gave a firm nod. This time we let them come. Daniel stared at her. You're serious? Yes. That's a terrible idea, maybe. And you're still doing it, yes. Daniel let out a breath. Then we better be ready. She stepped beside him. We will be. The sound stopped right outside the door, silence. Then, a soft click. The handle began to turn. Daniel's heart pounded. This time, there was no running. The door opened slowly. No crash. No shouting, just a quiet push. Daniel stood still, his breath slow, his eyes fixed on the door. 3 men stepped inside. Not rushed. Not tense. Calm, too calm. They wore dark suits, but not like the others. No weapons in hand. No sudden moves. Just control. Behind them, 2 more followed. And then one last figure. Older, tall, gray hair, sharp eyes. He walked in like he owned the room, like nothing here could touch him. The door closed behind them. No one spoke for a moment. Then the older man smiled. Daniel Carter, he said. His voice was smooth. Clean. Confident. We've been waiting for you. Daniel said nothing. He stood beside her. He could feel her presence. Calm, steady, but ready. The man's eyes shifted to her. For a second, something changed. Respect, fear, curiosity, all mixed. You've caused quite a problem, he said to her. She didn't reply. The man nodded slightly. Fair enough, he stepped closer, slow, measured. My name is Elias Varn, he said. I represent Blackthorn. Daniel felt a chill. So this was it. No more guessing, no more running. Blackthorn was real. And now, they were here. Elias looked at Daniel again. You're more interesting than we expected. Daniel stayed quiet. Elias continued. We thought she was the final result. His eyes moved to her. But clearly we were wrong. Daniel felt something shift inside him. Like a door opening. A pressure building. Elias noticed. His smile grew slightly. Yes, he said softly. There it is. Daniel clenched his fists. What do you want? He asked. Elias did not answer right away. Instead, he walked slowly around the room, looking at the broken walls, the dust, the shadows. This place, he said, is forgotten. Daniel frowned. What? Elias turned back. That's why you chose it, he said to her. She gave a small nod. Yes. Elias smiled again. Smart. He stepped closer to Daniel. We want to understand you. Daniel shook his head. No. Elias raised an eyebrow. No? No. Elias looked almost amused. That's not how this works. Daniel stood firm. It is now. The room went quiet. The other men did not move. Did not react. Just watched. Elias studied Daniel for a long moment. Then he sighed softly. Very well, he said. Let's try honesty. Daniel didn't trust that. But he listened. We created the conditions, Elias said. The experiments, the pressure, the environment. Daniel felt anger rise. You mean torture? Elias did not deny it. We pushed boundaries. You broke people, Daniel said. Elias tilted his head. And yet, you are standing here. Daniel clenched his jaw. That doesn't make it right. No, Elias said calmly. But it makes it effective. Silence. Then Elias continued. She was the first success. He looked at the blue woman. She adapted. Survived. Evolved. Daniel glanced at her. She didn't react. Then came you, Elias said. Daniel looked back. But you were not planned. Daniel frowned. So I'm a mistake. Elias smiled. No. He stepped closer. You are something better. Daniel didn't like that. What does that mean? Elias lowered his voice. It means you are not just receiving thoughts. Daniel felt his heart slow. What? Elias leaned in slightly. You are shaping them. Daniel froze. That's not true. Elias held his gaze. Isn't it? Daniel's mind raced. The office. Hargrove. The fear. The broken thoughts. The moment in the stairwell. The man who stopped moving. Daniel stepped back. No, that was her. Elias shook his head. No. Daniel looked at her. She didn't speak. Didn't deny it. Elias continued. She influences minds, he said. Guides them. Nudges them. Daniel's breath grew shallow. And you? Elias said softly. You rewrite them. The room felt smaller. Daniel shook his head again. No. Elias smiled faintly. You just don't know how to control it yet. Daniel felt something deep inside him. Moving. Growing. Changing. That's why we need you, Elias said. Daniel looked up. Need me? Yes. For what? Elias's eyes darkened slightly. For stability. Daniel didn't understand. What does that mean? Elias walked back to the center of the room. For years, he said, we have guided the world. Daniel almost laughed. You mean controlled it? Elias didn't argue. Guided, he repeated. Through influence. Information. Quiet decisions. Daniel crossed his arms. And now? Elias looked at him. Now the system is breaking. Daniel frowned. Because of her? Elias nodded. She disrupts everything. Daniel looked at her again. She stayed calm. Silent. Elias continued. Leaders doubt themselves. Decisions change without reason. Plans fail. Trust collapses. Daniel felt something strange. Because she's showing them the truth? Elias paused. Then said, because she removes the illusion. Daniel blinked. What illusion? Elias smiled slightly. The one that keeps everything running. Daniel didn't like that answer. So you want me to fix it? Elias nodded. Yes. Daniel shook his head. No. Elias didn't seem surprised. You don't understand yet. Then explain it better, Daniel said. Elias studied him again. Then spoke slowly. If she removes control, he gestured to her. You can replace it? Daniel felt a chill. Replace it with what? Elias stepped closer, with something stronger. Daniel's voice dropped. Control. Elias didn't deny it. Order, he said. Daniel laughed once. That's the same thing. Elias smiled faintly. Depends who you ask. Silence filled the room. Daniel looked between them. Her, Elias. Two sides. Two worlds. What if I say no? Daniel asked. Elias's expression didn't change. Then we try another way. Daniel felt the tension in the room rise. The other men shifted slightly. Ready. Daniel clenched his fists. He felt that pressure again. That strange force inside him. Like something waiting. Elias noticed. Careful, he said softly. Daniel looked at him. Why? Because you don't know how far you can go. Daniel took a step forward. Maybe I should find out. The room went still. Elias's eyes sharpened. Don't, he said. But Daniel didn't stop. Something inside him pushed forward. A wave. Invisible. Silent. It moved through the room. The men in suits froze. One blinked slowly. Another lowered his head. Elias stiffened. For the first time, he struggled. Daniel felt it. He wasn't touching them. He wasn't speaking. But something was happening. Their thoughts. Their control. Slipping. Elias took a step back. What are you doing? He asked. Daniel's voice came out low. I don't know. But that wasn't true. Some part of him did. The pressure grew stronger. The air felt heavy. Elias grabbed the edge of a table. You need to stop, he said. Daniel looked at him. Why? Because if you go too far. He paused. You won't come back. Daniel hesitated. For a second. That was enough. The blue woman stepped forward. Her hand touched Daniel's arm, and everything stopped. The pressure vanished. The room snapped back. The men gasped. Elias straightened slowly, breathing hard. Daniel stepped back. What was that? He asked. She looked at him. That was you. Daniel shook his head. No. Yes. He looked at his hands again. They felt different now. Not just normal, not just human, something else. Elias recovered. His calm returned, but it was thinner now. More fragile. You see? He said quietly. This is why you matter. Daniel looked at him. And this is why I don't trust you. Elias smiled. You don't have to. Daniel crossed his arms. Good. Silence. Then Elias spoke again. We're running out of time. Daniel frowned. For what? Elias looked at her. Then back at Daniel. For what comes next? Daniel felt that chill again. What is coming? Elias didn't answer directly. Instead, he said something that changed everything. You think we created you? Daniel blinked. You did. Elias shook his head slowly. No. Daniel frowned. Then who did? Elias looked at him, his eyes serious now. No one. Daniel didn't understand. What does that mean? Elias took a breath. It means... He paused. You were always there. Silence. Daniel stared at him. That doesn't make sense. Elias nodded slightly. I know. He stepped closer. But it will. Daniel felt the weight of those words. What are you saying? He asked. Elias looked at both of them now. You are not the first. The room went completely still. Daniel's heart slowed. What? Elias spoke quietly. There were others, before you. Daniel felt something shift deep inside him, and they didn't survive. Daniel felt the words hit him like cold water. You are not the first. The room went quiet again. No one moved. No one spoke. Daniel looked at Elias. Others? He asked slowly. Elias nodded. Yes, Daniel swallowed. How many? Elias paused. Enough to know what happens next. Daniel felt a tight pressure in his chest. And what happens next? Elias did not answer right away. Instead, he looked at the blue woman. Then back at Daniel. They lose control. Daniel's eyes narrowed. Control of what? Their minds, Elias said. Their bodies. Reality around them. Daniel shook his head. That doesn't make sense. Elias gave a small, tired smile. It didn't to them either. Daniel looked down. His hands trembled slightly. So they died? Elias hesitated. Some did. And the others? Elias looked away for a moment. Worse. Daniel felt a chill run through him. What's worse than that? Elias met his eyes again. They didn't die. Silence. Daniel's throat went dry. Then what happened to them? Elias spoke quietly. They became something unstable. Daniel didn't like that word. Unstable how? Elias stepped closer. They stopped seeing the difference between thought and reality. Daniel's heart slowed. What does that mean? It means, Elias said carefully, when they thought something, it started to happen. Daniel froze. That's not possible. Elias didn't react. You said that before. Daniel didn't answer. His mind raced. Memories. Fragments. The pressure. The moment in the room. The way the men froze. The way everything shifted. No, Daniel whispered. Elias watched him. You felt it. Daniel looked up. That was small. Elias nodded. Yes. Silence. Then Elias added. For now, Daniel stepped back. No. The blue woman stepped closer to him, her voice soft. Daniel, listen. He shook his head. No. This is too much. She reached out slightly. Look at me, he did. Her eyes were calm, but serious. You are not like them, she said. Daniel swallowed. You don't know that. I do, she replied. How? She hesitated, then said, because you stopped. Daniel frowned. What? In that moment, she said, you could have gone further. Daniel remembered. The pressure, the control, the way Elias struggled, the way the others froze. I didn't know what I was doing, he said. Exactly, she replied. Daniel didn't understand. That's a good thing? She nodded. Yes. Elias spoke again, or a temporary one. Daniel turned to him. You're not helping. Elias gave a small shrug. I deal in outcomes. Daniel crossed his arms. So what's the outcome? Elias looked at him. Either you learn control, he paused, or you become a risk. Daniel felt anger rise. A risk to who? Elias's voice stayed calm. To everything. Silence filled the room. Daniel looked between them again. Her. Elias. Two sides, both dangerous, both right in their own way. So what now? Daniel asked. Elias answered first. You come with us. Daniel shook his head. No. Elias didn't seem surprised. You need training, I don't need your control. Not control, Elias said. Structure. Daniel laughed once. That's just a nicer word. Elias didn't argue. The blue woman stepped forward. He's not going with you. Elias looked at her. And your plan? She didn't hesitate. He stays with me. Elias's expression changed slightly. That didn't work for the others. She held his gaze. They didn't have me. Silence. Daniel felt the weight of that. Elias thought for a moment. Then nodded once. Fair. Daniel blinked. That's it? Elias looked at him. For now. Daniel frowned. You're just letting us go? Elias gave a small smile. No. Daniel tensed. What do you mean? Elias stepped back toward the door. We're watching. Daniel felt that cold feeling again. You always are, right? Elias didn't deny it. He paused at the door, then said something quietly. Daniel, this is bigger than you think. Daniel stared at him. I already think it's big enough. Elias shook his head. No, he looked at both of them. You're not just part of the system. Daniel's heart slowed. Then what am I? Elias opened the door. Find that answer before it finds you. Then he left. The others followed, one by one, until the room was empty again. Silence returned. Daniel let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. That was too easy. She nodded slightly. Yes. Daniel looked at her. What aren't you saying? She hesitated, then said they're not done. Daniel sighed. I figured. He walked a few steps, ran his hand through his hair. So we're just waiting now? No, she said. He looked at her. Then what? She stepped closer. Now, we prepare. Daniel frowned. For what? She met his eyes. For the truth. Daniel crossed his arms. You keep saying that, and you keep getting closer to it. Daniel shook his head. Then just tell me. She looked at him. Really looked. Like she was deciding something important. Then she stepped forward. Very close now. Close your eyes, she said. Daniel sighed. Again? Yes. He hesitated. Then slowly closed them. The feeling returned. But this time, it was different. Smoother. Clearer. Not forced. Guided. Images formed again. But not like before. Not broken. Not painful. He saw space. Dark. Endless. Stars. Light. Then something else. Shapes. Moving. Watching. Not human, not physical, but aware. Very aware. Daniel felt small. Very small. What is this? He whispered. Her voice came softly. This is where it begins. Daniel tried to understand. Where what begins? You. The shapes moved closer. Not touching. Just seeing. Daniel felt something deep inside him respond. Like they recognized him. Like they had always known him. No, he said quietly. This isn't real. It is, her voice said. The shapes shifted. And then, he saw something impossible. Versions of himself. Different. Changed. Some broken. Some lost. Some powerful. Too powerful. Daniel pulled back. No. The vision faded. He opened his eyes fast. Back in the room, breathing hard. What was that? He asked. She looked at him. The truth. Daniel shook his head. That's not possible. She stepped closer. You're not just human, Daniel. He stared at her. Then what am I? She took a breath, then said the words slowly. You are a bridge. Daniel felt the air leave his lungs. A bridge to what? She didn't look away. To something beyond this world. Silence. Daniel tried to process it. This is insane, yes, she said softly. But it's also real. Daniel turned away, his mind racing. So what do I do with that? He asked. She answered simply. You choose. Daniel looked back. Choose what? She held his gaze. What kind of future you create? Daniel felt the weight of that. Heavy. Real. Dangerous. He looked down at his hands again. They were steady now. But he knew. They wouldn't stay that way forever. So I can change things, he said quietly. Yes. And break them. Yes. And fix them. Yes. Daniel nodded slowly. And if I don't choose? She gave a small, sad smile. Then something else will. Silence filled the room. Daniel took a deep breath. Then another. Then he looked up. His eyes clearer now. Stronger. Okay, he said. She watched him. Okay, yes. He stepped forward. No more running, she nodded. No more hiding, she nodded again. Daniel looked toward the door. They're watching, right? Yes, he gave a small, determined smile. Good, she raised an eyebrow. Why? Daniel looked back at her. Because now, they'll see what I become. The room stayed quiet. But something had changed. Not outside. Not in the city. Inside him. Something had started. Something real. Something powerful. And this time, it wasn't hidden anymore. If this opened your eyes, then what comes next will change everything. Because this was only the beginning, and the real story has just begun. So here's the truth. A hidden woman, a controlled world, a system built on secrets, and one man who was never supposed to wake up. But he did, and now, everything is different. If you enjoyed this story, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel for more high-retention sci-fi stories like this. And tell me this, if you had the power to control thoughts, would you use it? Or would you walk away? Everything Daniel believed was only half true. The room stayed quiet after the vision. But inside his mind, nothing was quiet anymore. He could still feel it. That space, those shapes, those versions of himself. Watching, waiting. Daniel took a slow breath. I don't think Blackthorn understands this, he said. She shook her head. They understand pieces, she replied, not the whole. Daniel looked at her. And you? She paused. I understand more than them, she said softly. But not everything. Daniel nodded. That makes two of us. Silence. Then something strange happened. A thought crossed Daniel's mind. What if this never started with Blackthorn? The moment the thought formed, it didn't feel like a normal thought. It felt deeper, like something answering him. Not her, not Elias. Something else. Daniel stiffened. Did you feel that? He asked. She looked at him carefully. Yes, her voice was low. Careful. What was that? Daniel asked. She didn't answer right away. Then she said something that changed everything. That wasn't your thought. Daniel's heart slowed. What do you mean? She stepped closer. It came through you, she said. Not from you. Daniel felt the air grow heavy. Through me? From where? She looked at him. Straight into his eyes. From the other side. Silence fell again. Daniel tried to understand. You mean those things? She nodded once. Daniel shook his head slowly. No, that doesn't make sense. They are not what you think, she said. Then what are they? She hesitated, then spoke carefully. According to what I've seen, they are not invaders. Daniel frowned. Then what? They are observers. Daniel felt a chill. Watching what? You. The word hit hard. Why me? She didn't answer right away. Because she didn't need to. Daniel was already starting to understand. They've always been there. He said quietly. Yes, before Blackthorn. Yes, before you. She nodded. Yes. Daniel ran his hands through his hair. This is bigger than control, he said. Yes, this is something else. She looked at him. It always was. Daniel turned away, his thoughts moving fast. So fast they almost felt like they were not his anymore. They didn't create me, he said slowly. No, they just triggered something, yes. Daniel looked back at her. Something that was already there. Yes. Silence. Daniel felt a strange calm begin to form. Not fear, not panic, something else. Clarity. So all this time, he said, they thought they were building power. She nodded. But really, they were opening a door. She held his gaze. Yes. Daniel exhaled slowly. And I'm that door. She didn't correct him. Because it was true, Daniel felt the weight of that. But something inside him didn't break. It didn't collapse. It didn't run. It stood still, strong. So what happens when the door fully opens, he asked. She answered honestly. I don't know. Daniel nodded. That's fair. Then he said something unexpected. Maybe they don't want to destroy us. She blinked. What? Daniel looked at her. Those things, he said. The observers. He paused. What if they've been waiting? For what? She asked. Daniel took a breath. For someone who can hear them and answer back. The room went completely still. She stared at him. That's not a theory Blackthorn ever considered. Daniel gave a small, quiet smile. They wouldn't. Why not? Because they think in control, he said. And this, he gestured slightly. This isn't about control. She studied him. Then what is it about? Daniel thought for a moment, then said, connection, silence. But not empty silence. Something deeper. Like the world itself was listening. Then Daniel felt it again. That presence. Stronger this time. Closer. Not watching from far away. Right there. At the edge of his mind. He didn't panic. He didn't fight it. He let it come. And for the first time, he didn't just hear it. He understood it. Not words. Not sentences. Meaning. Pure. Clear. Ancient. And one idea rose above everything else. We did not create you. Daniel's eyes widened slightly. He whispered, I know. The presence responded again. You chose to become. Daniel felt something shift deep inside him. A truth. A real one. Not forced. Not controlled. Chosen. He looked at her. They're not here to take anything, he said. She frowned slightly. Then why are they here? Daniel answered quietly. To see what we become when we're not controlled. The realization hit both of them at the same time. Blackthorn wasn't the center of this story. They were just a step. A small one. A human attempt to reach something far bigger. And they had failed to understand it. Daniel stepped forward slightly. His voice steady now. They didn't make a weapon, she nodded slowly. They made a question, Daniel smiled faintly. And I'm the answer. Silence, but not empty. Full. Alive. Then one last thought came through him. Clear. Strong. Final. Show them. Daniel closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them again. He looked toward the door, toward the world outside, toward the people who thought they were in control. They're watching, he said. Yes, she replied. Daniel nodded. Good. He took a step forward, then another. His presence felt different now. Stronger, but calm. Not forced. Not wild. Balanced. You were right, he said to her. She looked at him. About what? This isn't about control, she nodded. Daniel looked ahead. It's about choice. He paused, then added. And I choose something new. The story had started with fear, with control, with hidden power. But now, it was something else, something bigger. Not a secret, not a weapon, not even a war, a beginning. And this time, it wasn't hidden anymore. If this opened your eyes, then the next story will take you even deeper. Because now the real question isn't who controls the world. It's what happens when no one does. So here's what we just saw. A hidden woman who can read minds. A secret network that tries to control the world. And one man who was never meant to wake up. But he did. And everything changed. Daniel is not just hearing thoughts. He is shaping them. Not like a weapon. Not like control. But like something new. Something bigger than Blackthorn. Something even they don't understand. And the biggest truth? This was never about power. It was about choice. He could control people. He could break systems. He could become the thing everyone fears. But he didn't. At least. Not yet, because now the real question is not what he can do. It's what he will choose to do next. And that is where the story gets even deeper. Because if one person can think beyond control, what happens when more people wake up? What happens when the system no longer works? What happens when the truth is no longer hidden? That's where we're going next. So if you enjoyed this story, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel for more high-retention hi-fi sci-fi stories like this, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next part. Also, I want to hear from you. If you had Daniel's power, would you control the world? Or would you set it free? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you want deeper stories like this, check out the next video on your screen. It goes even further into hidden powers, secret systems, and the truth behind human potential. Stay curious. Stay aware. Because sometimes, the biggest power is the one no one can see.